The Mazda MX-5 Miata is a fantastic platform to drive stock. But if you modify it just even a little bit, you could often make these cars a much more fun experience and an even better car to drive. The aftermarket support for these cars is huge. There were tons of them made, so parts are readily available for stock or modifications. And there's just so much support when working on these cars that everyone will be able to help you out. With that said, a lot of people go the wrong route when modifying their Mazda Miata, and today I'm going to be going over, in my opinion, what the 10 worst Mazda Miata modifications are. Starting off the list here at number 1, we have something that I hate to admit it, but I'm guilty for, and that is the classic hot air intake. Now, a lot of people will buy an intake filter like this because they think it's going to free up their intake and make the car have some extra performance and have a little bit of extra sound. And while it does do a little bit of extra sound, the way the intakes on these Miatas are set up is if you run a cone filter like that, you have your intake right next to your exhaust and you're going to suck in a lot of hot air and actually rob yourself of performance. Do I get why people do this? Yes, I do. I mean, I did it on my own car, even though I don't plan on keeping it like that. But I don't think it's a good mod because you're sucking in so much hot air from your engine that you're really robbing it from performance. And when you make as little power as you do with one of these stock Miatas, you really don't have performance to give up. Number 2 on the list is clear aftermarket taillights. Now, a lot of people replace the stock taillights with these clear, much cheaper taillights because, well, they're cheap and readily available on eBay. I think they look horrible. I think they look extremely ricey on basically every single car that I've seen them on, and quite honestly, I just really don't like the look of them. Along with that, we have some headlight mods. And I'm not talking about upgrading to LED bulbs or the lights with the halo ring because I think personally that a lot of the times that looks really good. What I don't like is low profile headlights on a car that's mostly stock, and I also really don't like the lazy eye mod that makes the car look broken. I like being able to have your normal pop-ups, have them operate as normal, and I think it just looks good and really suits the look of these cars. Now, if you're going crazy with your build and you decide to do low-profile headlights or something really fancy like that, go for it, but I think on a stock car, it's just not really a great mod. Number 3 on the list is cheap coilover kits and cheap lowering spring kits. Now, this is something that, once again, if you do your research, you could get good springs or good coilovers for not a lot of money. Now, I have fairly inexpensive coilovers on my car. I have Yonaka coilovers with adjustable damping, and these are actually pretty decent because the spring rate is just about right for a Miata. Although they're a little bit stiff, they don't bottom out on the street going over bumps and stuff like that. And this is a decent option, but there are a lot of lowering spring kits and coilovers that are going to be way too stiff to street, or they're going to be way too soft to street and you'll be bottoming out over every single bump. So do your research if you're going to lower your car and you'll be in good shape. If you don't, it's going to be a mod that'll make your car way less enjoyable to drive and perform worse. Number 4 on the list is one that, once again, sounds like something that you would want and is going to add performance to your car, but it's something that if you street your car a lot and daily drive it, that you're going to get very tired of very quick. And for number 4, we have race motor mounts. Now, these motor mounts stiffen up the engine and allow it to flex around less in the car, which is great for feel and everything like that, but it is absolutely horrible for drivability because it basically puts all the vibrations from your engine straight through your car and into you as you're driving. Now, I helped my friend Matt take some nice polyurethane mounts out of his Miata because, quite honestly, they're good for performance, but they are absolutely not good for drivability, and the headache that you're going to get with them, quite literally, is probably not worth the small bit of added performance that you're going to get if your Miata is a street car. Coming in at number 5, we have something that people absolutely love to put in their Miatas, and that is mouse traps. And I'm not talking about an actual trap to catch mice in the car. I'm talking about the style bar roll bars that people put in that looks like a roll bar, but it's really not structural at all, and in the event of a crash could easily fold over and just pin you in the car and put you in a bad place. So if you're gonna get a roll bar, by all means do it, but get a real one that'll actually provide some protection in a crash. Number 5 and 6 is going to be combined because often they're bought together, and this one is wheels and tires. Now, tires are one of the best modifications that you could do to your car if you get a good set. If you cheap out on tires and get something that doesn't have a lot of grip and isn't good in the rain, you're gonna, 1, make your car perform worse, and 2, possibly even put yourself in danger in certain driving conditions. So make sure you get good tires. I have these Falcon Zenith 615K tires, and they're a pretty grippy tire that do what I need it to do when doing some spirited driving and having fun with the car. I will say that these things have a bit too much grip for a stock Miata to go slided around at lower speeds, and you really need to be on the edge of performance to have fun with these if you want to slide, but they grip very well. Now, next up, we have wheels. If you buy heavy wheels for your car, that's a lot of extra weight that you have to get spinning up as you accelerate and slow down as you decelerate, and you're going to make your car slower and make it perform worse if you put something on that's very heavy, even if it looks really good. So you have to think about that if you want to have your car for looks or performance, and make your wheel and tire choice accordingly. Next up on the list is exhaust systems. Now, some exhaust systems, don't get me wrong, absolutely could add performance to your car. But also, a lot of cheap exhaust systems and really higher performance exhaust systems in general could drone a lot and give you a headache whenever you're driving around in your car. Now, if you want to just make a ton of noise, make sure everyone hears you, by all means go ahead and do that. But I would recommend getting an exhaust system that is well suited for your taste, and for some people that might not be the absolutely loudest thing. Coming in at number 9, we have air conditioning system deletes. Now, if you live in a climate that's never going to get warm, or if you live in a climate where you really don't mind just sweating like crazy when you're driving around in a Miata, go ahead and remove your AC for that little bit of weight gain. If you have a car that's extremely performance oriented and not driven all the time, once again, go ahead and take your AC out. But having the AC is something that just makes this car a lot more enjoyable during very hot days. Because even though this is a convertible, it still is extremely hot driving around in the sun, and sometimes it's nice to have your top up and the AC on. Finally, coming in at number 10 on the list, this is one that I think is one of the worst. And this one is something that I've actually seen a lot of, and I don't really know why. And that is putting a wide body kit on your Miata without putting wider wheels on, and it really just makes the car look like a hovercraft. Now, I get why people do this. Once again, it's very cheap to buy flares off eBay and just bolt them onto your Miata, but unless you space out your wheels, it's really not going to look good, and in my opinion is one of the worst things you could do to these cars. So that is going to wrap up this video. These are absolutely fantastic cars that, in my opinion, some people sometimes go the wrong direction with, and they just make these worse. So let me know what you thought about my list of the 10 worst mods for the Mazda Miata. Let me know if there are any that you think are actually really good mods that I put on this list and called bad. Let me know if you think I missed anything on this list, if there are any other mods that you think are horrible, and subscribe to the channel for more Miata content. Thank you for watching.